Hey, it's the Abstractionist. So this is October's wrap-up video. Basically, we're just gonna go over some quick shit of how October was for me, and yeah. So, let's just start with the most obvious. I bought decks. I do have videos for these decks that I purchased. I will link them post them, where, that stuff. But I did want to get some decks. I haven't been reading a lot, but I do feel like I want to read more heading into 2023. And I think it's just because, I don't know, like, I think my ideas around tarot have shifted. Like, I got into tarot because I was interested in a guy, and I still watch a lot of tarot, but I'm seeking less and less from it, and I'm more interested in watching the people that I really enjoy and going from there. And then there's also been a shift in some of the people that I watch. Like, some of them, they're in the real world, they're not online, they're not YouTubers full time, they have jobs, they have obligations. And so those shifts kind of are something that I'm noting as well. I'm noting that, they're stepping offline, or they're taking breaks or stuff like that. Some of them, I had to revisit this past month in October. They stopped posting years ago, actually, and some of them stopped posting years ago. Some of them left the community. Some of them, it shifted. The community shifted, and so I had my little moment of like wanting all of the old tarot readers that I watched that were like very significant to come back. And I'm a very nostalgic person. I'm Cancer Sun, have a lot of water in my chart. So, but I'm very nostalgic, and I don't know, like, tarot tube has changed, and I know there was a tarot land before I came on in 2016, but it really has shifted from then until now in just 6 years. So it just had me thinking about the old ways. Old is relative, right? 2016 Tarot Babe coming online. But I mean, like, it's been such a shift, and the way that we read tarot is very different now. The topics that we talk about with tarot are not very, very different, but they're presented differently. There's so many different perspectives. There's so many different channels with different languages. But I just was not ruminating, but really just thinking about the old readers that I had, and wanting to, if I had, catalog those readings or downloaded those readings, I could like go back and watch them, because there were some that were pretty significant. I even just looked at one, tried to find a reader today, and I can't find her, and I was just like, another one bites the dust. So I'm like processing that, and where I'm gonna go with this, because I personally want to read, but I think it's shifting gears, and it's shifting importance in my life, and it has been for a really long time. I think on one of my Pisces moon videos, I also linked that somewhere, I talked about how getting into tarot was for relationships, and so now that I'm kind of growing out of that phase and getting into, I guess, more practical 3D things that don't require tarot. Where does that leave me with tarot? But I do want to read. I think that how I'll read is going to shift, and I think the people that I watch, they're also shifting as well. So it's a really interesting, I don't know, space to be in. So that's kind of more the experience of what I was having and what I was thinking about, because I don't know, I just miss the old YouTube sometimes with regards to tarot when I got on there. Because about by the time 2018, 2019 rolled around, like it was a completely different game. There was like so many tarot readers and stuff like that on here, and I kind of feel like the ones that I don't want to say were like A1, but the ones that like I feel like really had some like potent shit to say, like were there, and like they're no longer here, and they were, I don't know, it was a good time in my life for that. Personally, it was a shit show, but like tarot wise, it was really good. Like there was some really banging like readers. So that was me processing everything, and just how things have shifted and changed, and how I've changed. And I wouldn't have thought that I was going to be on YouTube doing tarot. If you had told me that 10 years ago, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? But that's just how it goes. So that's experiences. Next will be decks. So like I said, before I did all these things, I will link these to my like little flip through down below. But I bought the Uncommon Tarot, and I purchased the Liminal Spirits Oracle. So 2 decks, 1 tarot, 1 oracle. I basically got these two after waiting a while, like at least a year for both of them. The Uncommon Tarot, I've always been drawn to the imagery. I'm starting to like collage decks a little bit more, because there's just something about collage decks and how people put it together that really, they're different. It's not like when you get an artist and they have like this canvas and they put an idea and it's all their mind. A collage is like, it's your mind, but it's different motifs and images and patterns from other things, and it's very interesting what people consider significant enough to put together, right? So I like the Uncommon Tarot. I feel like it's really good ancestral energy or old energy. I kind of feel like energy of people who have suffered, like the necropolis type energy, but I like it. I just like the energy from it. It's very spiritual and heavy and very solemn, but it has a lot to say. So I decided to get this one. I got the Liminal Spirits Oracle as well. I am going to start doing plant exploration in the future, like herbalism and stuff, and I wanted to get this. So I think I said in that previous video, the video for this one, because I did each deck separately, what I wanted to do. I kind of forgot about that. I knew it was like something with plant exploration, but it was some way I was trying to approach it that I can't remember right now. But I decided to get this because I wanted to explore that. It's not a deck that's solely of plants or plant kingdom or fungi kingdom or whatever. It's a mix of like place, plant, animal kingdom, fungi, whatever, like all of that together. So if you want one that's strictly for plants, herbs, spices, whatever, essential oils, this is not the deck for you. I feel like if you like the concept of space and creature and entity, this is more up your alley. But I decided to get these to do that exploration, and there'll be readings to follow with both of these, but I enjoyed purchasing these. I haven't tested them out yet as far as putting in an actual reading, but I will in the future. I kind of don't know if the Uncommon Tarot is going to be like a personal deck and I'll get like a second copy, or it'll just be a personal deck, because my new year starts basically when my North Node in Sag starts. So it kind of always feels like I have a high purpose and I need to go gusto forward into newness around this time, like this Sagittarius time. I kind of don't start my new year at January anymore. Like, of course I celebrate with everybody else, but like as far as my personal goals and stuff like that, that's how I go. And back to another experience is me doing a video on that, realizing that I have a spiritual cycle for myself that I've noticed that's been pretty consistent, and kind of going with that instead of how we perceive New Year's starting in January, right? Well, in the part of the world that I live in. Starting in January, I feel like working with your North Node might be a little bit better as far as establishing your year and the different phases you go through, the different energetics you go through throughout the year. That would probably be helpful when it comes to cultivating and crafting. Not that you have to stick to a schedule and that you're boxed in, but if you notice consistently that your year starts and begins around the same time energetically and an intuitive knowing, then why not work in that fashion as opposed to how you're supposed to, based on like the calendar that you see, you know, hanging on your wall or on your phone, right? So there's that. Last but not least, books. I got 5 books, but I'm showing you 4. The 5th one is more fertility, and that's not really this space, so I'm not gonna go for it and explain that. But that was the 5th book, fertility. So I didn't really read any of these. I purchased them, so they're just going to be included in October because that's what happened. Yeah, so these are the 4 books. So this is the first one, The Healing Power of Flowers, Claire Bowen and Ivor Nemeth. And so this, as I said, I'm getting into like plant exploration, things like that. I specifically am interested in orchids because there's something weird about them that I'm trying to like figure out. And I think it has something to do with primordial energy, masculine and feminine, and the receptivity of that yin space to allow a big bang to happen. And that's what I think when I think of orchids. Like, the masculine energy, yes, of this big bang, but the receptivity and the knowingness that this masculine energy is capable enough of creating this big bang, right? And so that receptivity to allow the big bang of creation to happen. And it's like the chicken or the egg, and it goes back to like the gender war like thing when it deals with like feminism and the manosphere and the femininity pages, and it goes into that. And I think orchids have a really interesting perspective, and I feel like I want to tap into that and something primordial within self that wants to explore these 2 energies that work together, but somehow people are making them fight, you know? And that's just kind of where I want to go with that. And so this is plants, Healing Power of Plants. So I will be exploring that in the future. Also, it's interesting, the North Node will be in Aries, the South Node will be in, I was going to say Virgo, in Libra. So the North Node will be in Mars, the South Node will be in Venus. And so when it comes to gender war, it's going to be very interesting how that all plays out, because yeah, it's just going to be very interesting. And then even I was listening to somebody who was talking about the Saturn is exalted in Libra, and so what's exalted in Aries is the sun, right? And so even looking at that Sun and Saturn and seeing how that kind of push-pull is going to happen, I'll probably do a video of that in the future. But yeah, so this is the table of contents. I'm not gonna really go through it because I didn't really read it myself. Like, I flipped through it enough to know that I was gonna be interested in some capacity. But I'm not necessarily like well versed on it. But it's a book that I was interested enough, and it was also kind of on sale because the Barnes & Noble where I was having a sale before they opened up in their new location, and I jumped on some of the books that I wanted. So next is Radical Healership: How to Build a Values-Driven Healing Practice in a Profit-Driven World. Laura May Northup. I wanted this because I also am interested in different healing modalities, or I'll just say healing facilitating modalities, because I don't want to seem like I'm the healer. Like, I kind of feel like I just want to be the facilitator to healing, because I've had people who are not even in this space, particularly with energy work, and kind of they're not even on the wave of like wanting to do that kind of shit, but they've been very transformational as far as an energy space for me. So I just wanted to understand this a little bit more, and I wanted to understand where I personally am going with this, and kind of in contrast to the world when it comes to how we market healing and stuff like that. So there's that. I've been trying to get this book, wanting to get this book forever, and every time I always like have to pay for something else, and so it just never felt like this was a priority, and now it finally is. But if you don't know me, I'm into Reiki, and it's interesting because I've done I've done the Usui Holy Fire, and I've done Kundalini Reiki, and I basically, once I finish like this last class for the Kundalini, I'll be able to like teach it. I don't just go full force and take all of my Reiki classes and then just like force my way to like practice on people. I just take my time. I take at least 6 months between each class, just because I feel like even outside of energy work, I always have to integrate lessons, my own personal lessons regarding stuff like that, and getting my own energy balance. Like, you know, like I don't want to work on someone and then I'm like fucked up, you know, and then they're like, please save me, like, you know, I want to like heal this, and I'm like, yeah, and then like I'm going through like some tragic shit, you know, tragic to me, being overly dramatic, Leo moon, but like then I'm like, yeah, like I'll help you, I'll fix you, and then like I like mess it up and make it worse for them because I'm not healed enough within myself to be able to facilitate, and to just also know different protocols and stuff like that. So I bought this because I just wanted different techniques and tools, and because I was in massage school, I want to incorporate energy work. That's actually at the forefront as opposed to the massage. I realized that I'd rather do energy work, but I know that if you have a really good massage technique, that energy can come through. Massage can be seen as very mundane, right? Like, you know, there's people that go to massage because they want to relax and stuff like that. They're not going for energy massage. They're not going for any energetic work. But if you have good energetic alignment within self, and good boundaries as far as like ethics and not transferring energy and not taking energy on, you can have a really great experience. And so incorporating just energetic principles in general would be something that I'm interested in. So I got this book and I'm going to start reading it. I am going to do book club again with the What We Ache For book. Only what ended up happening with that is by the time I got into like 3 chapters in, I realized I could have just done a YouTube video per chapter, and then I could have posted it like that, as opposed to waiting to the end because I wasn't writing notes. So yeah, but this is the book. Back to this. So So I'm really excited for this because now that I have more mental space, as far as like I'm not concerned about like my massage stuff so much, as in like I still had like tests to do. Like I have one more assignment and that's done, and then I can just focus on the other financial part of that, which is like paying off the balance, the debt, and then I can go forward that way. There's less mental space being occupied by that, and so I have more time to devote to other stuff. So I'm really excited about that because I get to focus on books, and it's been a lot. It's been a lot mentally to try and piece together and figure out stuff energetically with my job, energetically with massage, energetically trying to just figure this shit out. So there's that. Now, the last book that I have is from a website called Brooklyn Healing Arts. Like Brooklyn is in like the place in New York. Healing Arts. And so the book is called The Architecture of Sound and Alchemy of Transcendence by Jared Byrne. Mayer. Jared. Which is so funny because that's the name of the guy that started me on my spiritual journey. Anyway, so this is that book. He sells books, but this is the one that he personally wrote. And so there's that. So this is the book. This is really nice. Like, actually, it's like all velvety feeling. It's like a nice velvety feeling. But yeah, this is the book. That's the guy. And the reason I got this is because one, I'm gonna get like singing bowls and stuff like that in the future because I wanted to lead meditations also. But I wanted to get his perspective on sound, and I wanted to get some sort of written perspective on it before, like less experiential, as in like I'm interacting with the gong, like the bowls and stuff like that, because I've taken a course right before COVID started. Actually, I took like a sound meditation course. It was like a day course, and we just got, you know, basic introduction to it, to everything. And then like, you know, obviously everything happened, so it wasn't like I was like doing that again. But I've always been interested since then in this and sound meditations, mainly because I'm attracted to sound a lot more, and I feel like this is kind of getting into my ideas and thoughts on alternative healing methods. And what I can say from what I'm picking up is that the way that we think about health, healing, and the rehabilitation, the recovery, the healing facilitation process is that it's going to take a more multidisciplinary perspective to help people heal. That, and it exists working with various different branches, and I think one of those branches is sound. And the reason why is that you study water and you study sound, and I think that vibration helps. And if your body is, this is like so wacky, and I'm a friend, I know I'm fringe with this, but if your body is what, 70-ish to 80-ish% water, certain vibrations of sound, I feel like potentially not only can help to remove the energetic debris, but possibly could be able to remove like cellular debris, or biological debris, and as a result create a higher vibrational state of being. So that is kind of how I got on this. And I'm interested in like health and healing for my own personal journey, right? Like I have PCOS, I'm a type 2 diabetic, or stuff like that. So obviously I would be exploring this for myself. And yeah, that's it. I'm kind of getting tired. It's like 2 o'clock. But this is the last book that I got. So this is something that I'm going to work on reading. I'll let you guys know. I might, like I said, I have a Patreon and I'm going to put that up. So some books for book club will be on there and some books for book club will be on YouTube. But in the meantime, most of these will be on YouTube until I change. So that's basically October. I mean, the new moon wasn't too bad. It wasn't really anything significant. I think the only thing is it's just no, it was significant because I took off 2 days. I took off 2 days. I was just exceptionally tired, and it was around the new moon, if I remember correctly. But I was exceptionally tired. Other than that, it wasn't too much. I just felt like portals were opening, and I felt like I was going to quantum leap, and that the time was now to move through and do the stuff that I wanted to do, and the time was nearing that I was going to make significant changes in my life, and that I didn't know what they were, but that they were close and that they were going to be impactful, and that my new year was going to start off with a bang energetically, and that there was just shifts that were happening that I knew were happening, but up until then I hadn't I feel like fully decided to go forward with the new path that was being laid out. I was still on an old timeline, and I feel like I'm transitioning to a new one, and that's kind of all with my perceptions of time. So thank you for watching. I know this was a pretty long video. If you made it to the end of this, you're a real one. And hopefully I'll see you at the end of, well, basically December, to give you November's wrap up, and we'll go from there. So thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.